My journey in realizing this moment is not one devoid of bumps and challenges. I previously worked both in the private and public sector as a procurement officer, but I always harbored the dream of one day owning and operating my business. During those years, while being employed, I pursued a number of skills training offered by many institutions. Sewing was one of the skills that I really embraced. That love and appreciation for sewing birthed Natasha Concept, which yours truly is the owner. Natasha Concept is a t-shirt printing and design establishment which started in the living room of my home. After being out of a job for almost 18 months, and life being completely uprooted with the COVID-19 pandemic, I came across an advert published by the Ministry of Human Services and Social Ministry of Human Services. I immediately filled out an application and submitted to the ministry and received a call for me to submit face masks, as many as I could. And I took the opportunity and made as many masks as I could, and I submitted to the ministry. Upon the completion or the submission of the mask, Ms. Lagan, who heads the office down by Big Market, she told us about training that they put in place for persons who were part of this face mask initiative. And so here again, I took the opportunity and I went to that training. It was a 5-day organized training, and I did go. When I got there, I was asking myself, how do I fit in? What is the training all about? You know, it was a room of strangers. And at the end of those 5 weeks, we were so impacted with the amount of information that was downloaded by Mr. Puran and the other facilitators, of which we are today grateful. During that training, we were told about financial institutions, lending institutions, banks that we can be able to access loans and grants. And as I stand here today, my proposal is with small business, of which I'm awaiting, and I'm quite confident that I will receive a favorable response in gaining that grant. All right? And coming away, I want to say how important this ministry is and instrumental in my development. Because when you think all was lost, there was a woman that had a heart for people and a vision to take you onward. And I capitalize on that. And today, I want to encourage others that they can do the same. Not because of the pandemic, you can fold up and roll over. They can use the skills and abilities that you have. And with the government, with the initiative that is there to gear persons to become more economically empowered, we can strive to do much more. Once again, I want to say thank you, Minister, and do have a good day.
My name is Anissa Khan. I'm the owner of Jay's Printer. I'm one of the participants from the Region 3 Cottage Industry Initiative, which was formed and hosted by the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security. When the PPP took office in August 2020, the cottage industry was the brainchild of Honorable Minister Dr. Vindia Prasad, and I was very fortunate to be a part of it. This pandemic has brought many changes, from sewing face masks, participating in the training, and to opening my own printery. Participating in the business training was phenomenal. It taught me how to be self-reliant, how to start, manage, and to keep my business running for years to come. I've taken what I've learned and I put it to action, like applying the 6 P's in business, balancing the wheel, and most importantly, managing a business with certain formalities. With the guidance of Mr. Sanjay Puran, the business lecturer from the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, I was able to officially register my business and make it fully compliant. When I started my business, finances was one of the major setbacks, but with perseverance, I was able to achieve my goals. Today, I'm elated to be a small supplier for the government of Guyana. Through the Regional Center Board Administration Region 3, J. Printery was awarded a contract to supply the West Damara Regional Hospital with printed materials, such as the prescription pad, postnatal cards, and medical records, etc. I'm happy to say that I was also awarded a contract to print the contract drawing, for one of the major developments in Region 2, the Abramsville Secondary School. Since starting my business, J's Printery, I've also printed textbooks and worksheets for the Ministry of Education. The future plans for my business, with the help of the ministry, hopefully, I would like to introduce Brandon. Take it to the next level, introduce Brandon on clothing. I would like to say thanks to the hardworking staff of the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, especially Honorable Dr. Vinya Prasad, for implementing the cottage industry initiative. Thank you.
My fellow colleague and I recently completed the program in Care for the Elderly. This course started in July and lasted for 1 week. While attending this course, I have received knowledge on how to care for the elderly. My experience in the training program was wonderful and I enjoy every moment of the training. My only regret is that the time was limited and I wish that the program was longer. It is my belief that the program was very informative and educative on elderly care. With the skills and the knowledge that I have gained, I am able to show compassion and love for elderly. During this time, I was able to meet amazing women and I got the opportunity to participate in group activities with the women, which was fun. At the end of the training, we were given lectures from trainers who taught us how to create successful business from the training. Overall, I have received a lot of experience and knowledge on how to care for the elderly. I would like to say a special thank you to the Honorable Minister, Dr. Vijay Prasad, the Government of Guyana, and everyone else involved in creating a well-organized program for the women. We, the women, are truly winners. I thank you again to everyone. Thank you.
I don't need to say much because so much has been said by the phenomenal women who came before me. But I must tell you a little bit of what has been happening and what is the concept behind this initiative that we're all here to celebrate, yes, because many women have been positively impacted, and also to open an incubator for the first time in the country dedicated to women. Today is a remarkable day because the Ghana Women's Leadership Institute has begun to be transformed. From right where you're sitting, this will be an outdoor classroom space. This will also be a space for graduations because we expect many of them, and I'll tell you why in a bit. And also, to your right, that you're sitting in front of me, there will be a state-of-the-art culinary center for more training of women. The Ghana Women's Leadership Institute was opened in the 90s by the current chair of the Women and Gender Equality Commission, Mrs. Indrani Chandrapal, but it became dormant. And when I got here, I wanted to bring life back to the place. And I can tell you, life has definitely been brought back to this wonderful place that we are in. It is a blend of the colonial structure, beautiful greenery, and modern technology and equipment to put women in good standing in the future. When WIN was conceptualized, it came after the cottage industry initiative that right after being here as the Minister of Human Services, we launched. And this involved over 120 women being trained after making masks, thousands of masks actually, in the height of the COVID-19 pandemic to supply institutions, including the Ministry of Education. They were paid for those masks, and I said, this is not where it must end. We want you to be trained. We want you to stop thinking that you are limited. We want you to start thinking, as I feel you should be, the entrepreneurs of tomorrow. And so they all benefited, all 120, plus 4 men. We didn't exclude the men, just so you know. They asked and we said, come right in. And it was a life-changing experience for many of them. And they benefited from that training, and you heard what they did with it. So came WIN, Women's Innovation Investment Network. Carefully thought out acronym, and I must thank the young woman who came up with this. She wouldn't want me to call her name, but it was after a lot of thought that we came up with this acronym and what it should stand for. And WIN took off because we invested in women. We have over 4,000 applicants across this country for the WIN initiative. And since then, we have embarked on a training program of a number of courses. Over 500 women have been trained in regions 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is a phased training program that will be rolled out, and all 4,000 will be trained before the end of this year. Aside from the professional courses that they will benefit from, which include a number of things like ICT, graphic design, videography, photography, professional care, to name a few. I wanted women to start moving away from conventional types of employment, to start to think like the bosses, not only in the homes that they are, and I say that without apology, the women are the bosses at home, without thinking that they can only be the bosses at home, but be bosses, have other women work with them, creating that strong network of support and shared skills, creating a synergy between what they would have learned and what they will develop. And I think we are definitely on the right path. It has to do with how you think and the positive energy and the attitude that you will bring with you into coming here and committing, crossing the finish line, and yes, winning. We've seen a lot of innovative products from some of these women. Today you will enjoy a little bit of that. But it's not only about the training and the women. What next? Do you train people and then you just leave them? Absolutely not. So this morning we will be proudly opening the business incubator dedicated to women, where any woman, including those who would have come out of the WIN program, can access help to start a business, to quality control their product and skill. How can they have practical help if it comes to packaging anything? Because we want women to think that you are not only producing for home here in our lovely land of Guyana, but also for the world at large. And so we went one step further. And today we're launching our app. And this is an app that will link women from across the country, a free app called the WIN app. It should have been a little more exciting, but it's win, win, win all the way. So they will now be able to input their businesses, manage their business on the app, and the app will be in the palm of your hand, my hand, and many people once you have a smartphone. Lots of people do, I'm told. So people can access the app and they can know what's happening with women across the country. We're also collaborating with many women, and there's a young woman who developed a Made in Guyana website and app. So we will also include her in this venture, because it's not only about a few women, it's about all women. And so today it's about celebrating women, it's about their journey of empowerment, and it is definitely about the government of Guyana and President Ali's commitment to ensuring that the people of Guyana, all the people of Guyana, can benefit from the myriad programs that we can offer. It is by no coincidence you are all here. You know why? Because I want you to support each woman on their journey, on her journey. Each woman, whenever she comes to you, knocking on your door, are you from Win? Yes. How can I help you? So I know my colleague here, poised to help people who are in the business arena, will definitely reach out to help another sister, another woman. So I want to say too, sometimes when we speak on women's empowerment, the men feel a little excluded. We're not excluding the men, but that's another event that you will have an opportunity perhaps to come here or another venue so we can tell you what we plan to do for the men. We are very happy that this environment and arena will be transformed. It will provide an enduring space for women to come, for years to come. And I want to encourage women and girls to use every opportunity offered here. We also train women in the region, so we had satellite training happen as well. So while this will be the central hub, the training exercise will be done throughout the country. The beauty of this program is there is no admission criteria, there is no age barrier, and it's absolutely free. It has to do with what you see for yourself. And I think every person that comes through this program must be an influencer and an ambassador of this program so that they can inspire another woman, another girl to be a part of this initiative. None of this would have been possible without the tireless efforts of the members of staff, especially of the Guyana Women's Leadership Institute, and those who would have worked along with me, because they know I'm told I'm meticulous, I'm all sorts of things, but we want to get the work done. And last but not least, I must thank my permanent secretary for being right there next to me to ensure that what we are enjoying and what you will see got done. Thanks to our partners, NDMA, and all other agencies who stepped in, who collaborated, and who supported this initiative. And I'm looking forward to saying many thanks to all of you because I know you will be the partners to come. And last but not least, many thanks to His Excellency for being here, for being a part of this journey that started when we hosted the We Lift event at the conference center, and we saw 75 women in all of their grandeur presenting themselves and their products. So, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies all, thank you for being here with us today. I'm so happy that you could join us in this simple way to do something that will make the ordinary extraordinary. And I have great delight in presenting the WIN program to you, and I look forward to His Excellency launching and opening all that we have to offer, the first of many. Thank you all. God bless you.
I want to first of all thank Dr. Vindi and her team and all the women and men in our society who continue to contribute positively to the development of our country, but more particularly to the advancement of the cause of women. And I ask you to applaud yourself for your contributions. If you look at the sign behind you in front of me, it says Guyana Women's Leadership Institute. And it begs the question, why should it be Guyana Leadership Institute? And the answer to that question can be controversial, but it can be exciting at the same time. Theoretically, you would learn in your branding courses that whenever a word is inserted in the brand, it is inserted for a particular reason, to add value, or because there are some specific attributes to that brand that differentiates it from other brands. So if, for example, we were to have a Guyana Leadership Institute and we add the word Guyana Women's Leadership Institute, it would mean that that addition of the word brings a specific identity, a specific brand, a specific issue maybe that we have to address. And that issue or brand or value would have to be continuously addressed in this context. until the world is at a place where there is enough confidence in the society, where there is enough trust in the society, and where there is enough space in the society to recognize the equality that we enjoy as children. And then it becomes the Guyana Leadership Institute or the World Leadership Institute. And that is why I introduced the concept of children. Growing up, you don't see a differentiation. It is children playing together. It is children going to school. It is Guyana's Children Institute, maybe. But then, as you get older, something happens. Something happens at some point. And we have to address what happens at that point. And that point is a transition into a competitive environment. And the environment that transition happens, the competitive environment that you're transitioned into, is designed and built in a particular way that is disadvantageous to women. So we have to find that transition box and address that transition box. And this is something I think the international community, the organization need to address. We can go forever addressing women issues at different levels. But if we don't find that box of transition and address that box of transition, then we'll not solve the problem. And I think that is what we're trying to do. Find the box. We are not there as yet, but in Cabinet we have been discussing how we can find that box of transition. And a very old friend of mine, well, not a friend, she's like an aunt, Miss Yvonne Moses Grant, from the Caribbean Development Bank, has been following, she's formerly of the Caribbean Development Bank, has been following a lot of what is going on in Guyana. And she has great admiration for the work that the ministry has been doing. And she discussed with me a concept that can be transformational. We are investing heavily in technical education and in secondary schools and putting in greater facilities in those schools. For example, we have some schools have very elaborate home economics department and sections with state-of-the-art kitchens. So this transition happens there at secondary school, going into university. How do we now get those kitchens and those facilities certified so that when school is over at 3, when we get back into school, or 4:30, we have a new set of users of those facilities to do packaging, to do branding, to create opportunities for entrepreneurship. For example, juices, fresh vegetables, fruits, packaging of fruits. It is a concept that is worth examining, and we're examining that concept. The issue of transition becomes even more critical in our society today. Because if one is to examine the change rate of educational output at the level of university, you would say that we're having a reverse problem. That we have a problem of men not going on to university now. Because the rate of change of women graduates is increasingly more than men. And if you look statistically at this, you would say, well, things are becoming better on the women's side. But then let us look at who transitioned into business and who transitioned into the corporate world, and to see how the percentage changed again. And it's a remarkable change again that is skewed away from women. So it is at these critical phase that something has to be fixed in terms of that transition. And it's not only the government, and that is why the private sector is so critical. The government could provide all the opportunities. You get the education, you're out. But what happens afterward? What environment is created to ensure that women are given that opportunity to raise capital, to get loans, to be part of the business opportunity? It's not only about entrepreneurship, it's about business opportunity. You have women right here in this room who took over multi-million dollars enterprises after men would have left. And they can tell you how remarkably different it is for them as against the men who were there before. Remarkably different. So that's another point in the box that we have to look at and address that issue, creating that environment. But on the other hand, something dynamic has to happen. The government here is trying to create a winning culture among women. And something is going to happen in the economy that will necessitate what you're doing here. So we have our wonderful friend doing a particular business. Let us say making the mask. But the economy itself is transitioning into a level of sophistication that will require an ordinary task to be done extraordinarily. That is just how it will be, because you will have more sophisticated companies coming. So instead of handing out masks in a plastic bag, you will have to hand out masks individually wrapped in a sealed package. And the whole country has to transition to this as part of the local content even. Where companies are coming here that requires a specific level of certification, a specific level of standard. And that is why these programs are critical, to give you that early advantage in ensuring your business model, your development model addresses these key issues. And the brand that you're building is built in such a way that it's sustainable, that it is valuable, it adds value. I remember right in this building when when I was Minister of Tourism, performing the duties as Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, Annette Arjun had a wonderful project. And in that project, she was creating a multi-package product. So you used to come here, you used to get on a horse-drawn cart, and you used to go on a tour, because there are many historical sites around here. And you will go on the seawall. Then there was some swamp shrimp, an area for swamp shrimp, and there was a benab, and you will have cultural drumming. And you will be surprised to see how many persons went on that tour. It was all led by women, marketed by women, and then she complemented it by a mangrove honey production project. So packaged honey until we didn't have enough honey from the project to supply the market. But that is something we have to address too. So if we have one woman producing honey and marketing that honey on her own, she might get to a situation where, and I don't want to use the word woman anymore, one entrepreneur, because you're equally an entrepreneur like anyone else. One entrepreneur creating honey and supplying, let us say, the US Embassy. And after your first two supplies, you don't have any more to supply, then the person you're supplying would lose confidence in you. So we have to find a way also of bringing all the honey producers together and saying to the honey producers, listen, this is the market we're going after, this is the size of the market. In order to sustain your production, we need to work together. And that is another big area that I hope and the program will do too. Not only programming the output to teach you to do things individually, but how do you come together? How do you build businesses, corporations? How do you do this? How do you network? Are key things in the deliverables if we are to achieve really a transformational push forward. So, and one good example of this is the guys in the poultry industry. They have started the soya and corn production here in Guyana now, and by 2023, all the soya and corn that is needed for the input for feed for livestock will be produced here locally, saving tens of millions of US dollars of import foreign currency for the country. So it is the same thing. How do we do this? And another thing we have to also look at is maybe earmark a niche area and concentrate on that area, build capacity in that area, so that we can become not only a seasonal honey supplier, but a long-term sustainable honey supplier on the regional international market. And to do that, we have to build capacity and build cooperation. We have to build a consortium of entrepreneurs in the honey industry, a consortium of entrepreneurs in the ecotourism industry, a consortium of entrepreneurs in small contracting. Maybe you would get less individually, but it's more sustainable. It's more sustainable. So if we have 100 women who get a small grant and do 100 chicken each, if you multiply 100 by 100, you'll get a huge farm, a medium-sized farm, rather than a backyard chicken production. You move now to a medium-sized farm, you get economies of scale, and you get share management because you have 100 persons who can share the responsibility of managing the farm. And then you expand. And if 100 women or 100 entrepreneurs come to the government and say, we are 100 strong, we're incorporated, we're doing 10,000 chicken, we need 1 acre of land or 2 acres of land, then you put the government in a strong position to say, hey, we need to work together here. This is a great opportunity. So, in creating a winning culture in Guyana, especially here, and I want to be brutally honest with you, we have to move from the I concept to the more we and us concept. We have to. The changes that will come and the opportunities will come will not be coming for I and I. It will be coming for us, all of us. And that is the direction in which we have to move, we have to create the opportunity. Now, there is a lot of stuff that is written here that I was supposed to say. But I would not, I just want to focus on these few things and to say, I don't have to rehash all that the government is doing. Whatever the government is doing, it is because you have trusted the government to do this for you. And I'm not going to rehash that. But I want us to look at the opportunities ahead. I want us to look at how we create value. I want us to look as to how we bring together initiatives, huge initiative. At the end of each session, if you have 100 graduates, that classroom must come out with an idea, an initiative that they as a graduating batch would like to pursue together. And it's these small initiatives and small ideas that would blossom and create greater and greater value. So if you have a graduating batch that comes out with an idea, listen, more and more we have flowers becoming a culture in our country. More and more fresh flowers is being used in our country. So, this is an opportunity in the future. How does a graduating batch, before you graduate, embark on a project that goes to the Ministry of Agriculture, identify the soil type, identify the climate, identify what is needed, and say, we're going to do 10 acres of this or 1 acre of this. So there's a lot of programs that we are launching. And I had a great meeting last Friday with a major investor from the Rudisa Group. And they are coming in to do a number of things: fresh juice, milk, milk plant. And one of the interesting thing about this potential is that we can have the poorer families along the East Coast integrated into this project. Because when you do the calculation, we will need about 2,000 cows to give enough milk to add to the production of that plant to do what they want to do. Now, how do we integrate the community into this? And how do we ensure that the most vulnerable in the community gets an opportunity in this project to elevate themselves and become entrepreneurs themselves? And these are the type of initiatives that are going to create great transformation at the local level. And it is not only about looking at the huge projects out there, it is the value added and what are the areas in these projects that really you can add greater value to, and bring something new, bring something innovative. One of the important things that we have to do as a government too, as we look to the future, is to see areas. We are very happy for the sunshine. We're having rain every day. So Mark, I know you looked up just now and say, oh, it's kind of hot. Trust me, it's very, very hot in Florida and New York now. So so we have to find these things. We have to find these opportunities, and that is a part of what Dr. Vindi and the ministry would have to do too. It's a strategic component of your output has to be to finding these opportunities and building the capacity to match the opportunities. Very shortly, we'll be launching the Goal Initiative, where 6,000 plus Guyanese will be moving on to do degree programs, the specialized program, master's program, and we have to link all of that to what is taking place in our country and in our society. But definitely, once we develop the winning culture, once we develop a collective approach, then there is no other option or no other output than success for all of us. Thank you very much. I wish you well, and God bless you.